Hello everybody, my name is Karen King and welcome back to my channel, where I tell creepy Reddit stories and hopefully you enjoy them. If you'd like to submit any of these, please let me know. You can message me on Instagram and anywhere else you find necessary that I am responsive, I guess. Anyway, enjoy the video and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below which one you enjoyed the most. I live in a rural area of New Mexico, right outside of Roswell. My family has owned this property for 100 years and I have seen some weird ass shit out there. I have seen weird lights in the sky, UFOs, I have seen fairies, and worst of all I have seen is a skinwalker. I'm not the only one who's seen the same skinwalker. It looks like the shape of a huge dog. Its back is arched just right, where it almost looks like a bear, but it has no fur. And the head of what looks like Anubis, a big dog head, and completely black. Like the darkest black you've ever seen, black. The night I saw this creature, I was sitting on my front porch, minding my own business, pretty well drunk, and I felt something was watching me. I looked to my side into the darkness, and I saw something staring back at me, a large black figure that looked so much like a dog, but much larger and with no hair. And I couldn't see his eyes, no eyes at all almost. I didn't know what to make of it, but before I could realize what I saw, it turned, took 3 steps and disappeared in front of my eyes. I knew what I saw then. I saw a skinwalker. I have seen shadows and my dogs have plenty of reason to worry. People that have come to stay with me, or visit me even, have seen the same hairless dog that looks unnatural and disappears. And they were sober. I know of a skinwalker living on my family's property. Just like I call this home, they do too. If they keep being nice, they can stay. It's their home, just like it's mine. So this happened 1 or 2 years ago. My ex-friend was staying over at my house. It was pretty late at night and we were getting ready to go to bed. There's a window across my room that leads to the backyard. In the yard is my building. The curtains were open, so I closed them like I always do. While I was closing it, I saw something that was on top of the roof of my building. If you guys have watched Harry Potter, think of Professor Lupin's werewolf form, but pitch black. If you haven't seen it, the creature was tall, big, lanky, and completely black. It even stood out in the dark. It's hunched over on all fours and staring into my woods on the opposite side of the building. Now for some context, my house is on a hill and we're surrounded by miles of woods. It's not like we're out in the middle of nowhere. We live in a neighborhood, but I'm guessing it came from the woods. As I'm staring at this thing, my friend walks out from the hall and I call her to look over at it. I ask her if she sees what I'm seeing and she says yes. We kinda just stare at it for a few minutes. It doesn't move, it just sits there while we're watching. It's absolutely terrified. My dad was asleep on the couch in the living room, but we didn't wake him up. We're contemplating on waking up my parents, but we end up shutting the curtain and going to bed. We told my mom in the morning what we saw and she asked why we didn't wake her up, but I didn't want my parents to get hurt. I never saw that thing again to this day. I can't say where this took place exactly for safety reasons, but I live in the southern eastern area. I'll preface this with, I have had many paranormal encounters since I was young, and many were also witnessed by people I was living with, or confirmed by neighbors. We have had fallen on some tough times financially, and the only real affordable housing where my son could remain at his current school he loved were some really old apartments. The complex was built in the 1950s, and was run down. It was a 2-floor plan. My husband and I took the master bedroom, with the bathroom inside the master, separate room though. The bedroom was always freezing. I could never stay warm in there, even though it's Texas and we're from Wisconsin. I know what real cold is. The other rooms in the apartment were normal temperature. I never felt uncomfortable being alone in the apartment, mostly because I never felt alone. The living room wall with the TV on it was also our bedroom wall and door. We always kept the bedroom door shut. I was in the living room watching TV alone. The spot I always sat in, I swear I could hear and see the bedroom doorknob rattle, like a gust of wind had been blown at it. Our AC unit was at the other end of the apartment, and there were no vents or windows anywhere near the bedroom door. There was a coat closet door adjacent to the bedroom door in the entryway, and it never did the same thing, just the bedroom doorknob rattled. We lived on the 2nd floor of a 2-story complex, so no one was above us. The people below us were incredibly quiet people. I never once heard them at all, let alone them slamming doors or windows that could have affected us. I was again sitting on the couch facing the bedroom door, reading this time, and out of the corner of my eye I saw a human-sized black shadow. It crossed from the entryway, past the coat closet door, and went right through the bedroom door, rattling the doorknob. I took my glasses off and tried to refocus, thinking there must be a smear or something on my glasses. There was nothing. I got up and went into the bedroom, and nothing was there. About a week later, the same thing happened, but this time the shadow was only 2 or 3 feet high. Same path from the entryway, coat closet, and right through the bedroom door, with the handle rattling again. Got up, went into the bedroom, and nothing was there. A few days later I caught it again out of the corner of my eye, but it was just standing there, full size in the entryway, like it had been watching me. I only caught a glimpse of it this time, before it disappeared, and this time I saw purple in its face. Like, purple eyes. Although it could have been a scarf, or hat. I wasn't usually ever alone in the evenings, but my husband and son were both gone one night. I was watching TV in the living room, and felt really anxious like I was not alone. The bedroom door handle started rattling, along with the door shaking some this time. I started getting pretty freaked out. I knew I needed to go check things out. I got up enough courage in knowing that I had to go into the bedroom, and that the light switches are in the room not next to the door, and needed to use our bathroom, which took going into the dark rooms, to get the lights turned on. I took some deep breaths and opened the bedroom door, and as I went straight into the bathroom door, in the dark, opened it up, I reached around to the left to flip on the light switch. What I felt instead in the dark was my hand go through some wet substance I can only compare to jello-ish, or like hair gel. I was shocked, flipped on the light, and went to grab the hand towel off the rack, completely expecting my whole hand to be soaked in or something. It was dry as bone. There was nothing different about the bedroom or bathroom. Yet again, the sensation of the gel stuff on my hand was gone. My middle daughter was over a few weeks later, sitting on my vanity in our bedroom, which was next to the bedroom door. I had told her of my experiences, and others. She's sensitive to energies too. I was getting dressed and she was putting on makeup. We were going out. She said, "Mom, the shadow just walked through the door, past me, and into the bathroom. It looked like an old woman." She was the only one who had ever seen it besides me. We actually ended up swapping bedrooms, so my son could have the larger master bedroom to have friends over to play video games. After we switched bedrooms, I never saw the shadow again, and the other bedroom was always reasonably warm. To this day, I'm not sure I put my hand into that night. I have an idea, but without proof, and being alone that night, they are only ideas. We moved a few months later. I have never seen the black shadow again. As far as I can tell, nothing happened to us. We were not abducted or harmed in any way, but we were very startled, and I would almost say I was startled the creature as much as it did us. It was nighttime, and I was at my boyfriend's apartment, hanging out in the bedroom, laying on the bed chatting, watching TV. His roommates were out of town. After a while, I hopped off the bed to use the bathroom. I was just being silly and dramatic for no reason, and swung the bedroom door open all the way very quickly. All the lights in the apartment were off at the time except for the bedroom. As I started to take a step out, my body froze as I felt a presence. I took a second or so for my eyes to adjust and see that maybe 5 feet or so in front of me stood a humanoid figure with its arms in the air, sort of crouched at the knees, staring at me, like how people put their hands up when they have been startled. Its eyes were huge, black saucers, and its head was almost frog-shaped, with a small mouth gaped open. It took me a second to realize what I was looking at, and once I did, I said, "Oh shit." The second the words left my mouth, the figure shook its arms side to side very fast and accelerated into a blur that went sideways, phasing through the wall, and disappeared. I immediately closed the door as fast as I could and stood there a moment to calm down and catch my breath. I was trying to rationalize, thinking I had just hallucinated the whole thing because I stood up too quickly. My boyfriend kept asking me what had just happened, and I just kept saying I stood up too quickly and I was fine, and tried to drop the subject. After a second, I felt calm enough and went to use the bathroom because it was basically an emergency at that point. So I ran off and came back after I was done. My boyfriend was still very shaken up when I returned from the bathroom and was holding his phone trying to record the hallway as I walked into the doorway, asking me again what just happened. At this point I knew we both saw something, because why would he be trying to record the hallway? So I asked him to describe to me what he had thought happened before I explained my side, and sure enough, he essentially saw this humanoid figure standing in the hall with a similar description and zip out of sight just like I had seen. After the incident, I thought what I encountered was some type of ghost or demon. I had nightmares about it because I was so shaken. Having another witness really made the reality of the situation set in. After a lot of reflection, therapy, and lurking on this community, I have started to believe it was possibly an ET of some sort, or interdimensional being. To this day, I have not had anything quite like that happen again. I have never met or heard of any person with an encounter quite like mine. For context, I am a native of a Southeastern Asian country that tends to be superstitious and generally has high paranormal activity due to our history. When I was younger, I was more sensitive towards the paranormal and was able to see what I now know as shadow people. I have two notable instances of my encounter with them. One was when my mom and I were coming home late after our night out. She drove into a high-rise car park building when I saw what looked like a shadow vaguely shaped like a man lurking near one of the other cars. It did not have any defined features, although it was as tall as an adult man. The shadow figure did not come near us. However, it followed my mom and I from a distance all the way back to our house. That was the first time encountering such a thing, and did not tell my mom immediately, although she sensed my fear. I thought that we would lose it on the way home, and did not want to scare her. However, it followed us right into our apartment. The next few days, I would see the shadow figure peeking at me from around corners, standing in doorways and generally just loitering around my house. Although it did not come near me or give me nightmares, its presence made me uncomfortable, and I eventually told my parents what had happened. Thankfully, they knew someone who came to our house to get rid of it. Before leaving, the person hammered a used horseshoe above our front door, as according to them, it would help ward off spirits and entities. Honestly, I was skeptical of it, but was grateful that the shadow figure was no longer around me. This is when my second notable encounter with a shadow figure comes into play. Late at night after a New Year's celebration, my parents and I were driving home after a family reunion. We were carrying leftovers and uncooked meat from the party and intended to store it. Once again, as we reached the car park, I saw a shadow figure, this time near the stairs. As we did not go near it, I hoped we could avoid it. Unfortunately, as we got out of the car, the shadow figure came towards us and felt more threatening than the first encounter. My guess is that it was attracted to the meat smell. Once again, it followed us all the way to our house. However, as I neared my front door, it slowed down. It did not pass through my gate like before. Instead, I saw it head towards my neighbor's door and pass right through it. Shocked, I told my parents what I saw and went to bed, feeling unsettled. The next day, my mom spoke to our neighbor that the shadow person targeted. We learned that their baby, who usually slept relatively well, was restless that night and was crying. My mom relayed the events that happened, and from what I know, they got their house blessed. It's been years, and I have moved houses since those incidents. Despite that, I have a horseshoe above my door, as I literally saw its effects regarding spiritual safety. I have not had entities in my house ever since. I hope this helps anyone going through something similar. When I was 19, my college friend Jack asked me to take care of his house and pay it due to him and his family leaving somewhere. My friend had a normal house which can fit a normal-sized family. It was Sunday, I had nothing to do, so I wanted to help and be a responsible guy. They all left around 7 p.m. I began from watching some love movies and other things that were displayed on the TV by that time. 5 hours later, the dog started barking, so I thought he wanted to go outside or eat something. I filled his bowl with dog food, which Jack left for me, but he was still barking and even shaking. I opened the door to the yard, and he immediately ran from the house. I guess that he just needed to do dog things. Well, he wasn't outside for the past 5 hours. I kept watching whatever showed up on the TV. I kinda wanted to sleep, but I couldn't do it for obvious reasons. 2 hours later, I ran to the yard door to let the dog in. I felt bad that he was there the whole time while I forgot about him. He was just sleeping under a small tree like nothing. The night was cold, so I was surprised. I took the dog inside by force when he suddenly started barking and shaking so hard that he got out of my arms and ran back to the yard, where he became peaceful. Later on, the attic door shut with a huge force that I thought they totally broke, and that I am in trouble for ruining the house. But after a second, I realized who could have done that. I went upstairs just to see broken doors, which were barely holding up. I was about to come down when they started to close and open itself really fast that I freezed. The noise was so loud that the dog started barking even louder from outside. I ran downstairs to the yard door, opened them as fast as I could, ran outside and hid in the bushes. The dog was still barking for a good 5 minutes, while I managed to smoke 3 cigarettes in that bush. I spent the rest of the night outside, without any jacket, just a sweater with the dog. When Jack came home around 8 a.m., I showed him what had happened last night, knowing that I am in huge trouble for not fulfilling my duty. He reacted without any anger or something. He looked more worried than angry when I told him what had happened. Finally, he explained that his uncle died, and they were going to another state for the funeral. The house was built by him years before. I guess he just wanted to say goodbye to his old place. I also realized that the dog wanted to warn me, as I felt bad energy in that house. And that's it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, put on the notifications so that you guys know when I'm going to do premieres and whatnot. If you do want to support the channel, there is a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description, along with the link to buy my book on Amazon or physically. I am a horror writer, so if you like these kind of stories, you might like this too. So go have a look, see if it intrigues you. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.